Okay, this is Jeff Overturf for WTFradio.me. I'm sitting here with Tom Seaborn. What's up, Tom? How you doing today?
Hey, Jeff, fine. How's everything for you?
Oh, going pretty good. What kind of tip do you have today for all the listeners out there about fitness?
Well, everybody's always wondering what the latest diet fad and how to eat right and how to eat to lose and all that. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about that, although my specialty is not, nutrition. In fact, I recommend everybody talk to a registered dietitian. There are some myths out there that we might want to dispel today regarding, eating and try to fuel your workouts correctly. And so I think the first thing we'll discuss is that we do know through research that it is better to eat at least a few meals a day rather than just one. And for some people, several small meals, as everybody in Dallas probably already knows about, is a great idea too, especially if you're working out throughout the day. Your muscles need glycogen, meaning sugar, and if you're not eating to fuel your muscles, then your body's going to use your muscle for energy, and then your metabolism will slow. So the goal is to eat enough to fuel your workouts, but not too much so that you won't store any extra body fat. So to do that, the first and most important thing, and Jeff, you know this, and so do all your listeners, is eat breakfast. I mean, there's so much research to say that eating breakfast, gets your metabolism revved, and then soon after you get used to eating breakfast, then you'll eat fewer calories during the rest of the day. So that's the first thing, and you don't have to eat just chicken breast and egg whites anymore. We know that. Well, in fact, Jeff, the changes have been dramatic over the last few years. It used to be, everybody get off the fats and just eat the complex carbs, but now we know that carbs are also a bit of an enemy, especially the refined carbs like breads, pasta, boxed cereal, and anything that converts to sugar very quickly in your bloodstream, which causes your pancreas to produce insulin and then store that energy as body fat. So the key is to try to eat fruits, vegetables, lean meats, drink lots of water, have at least 3 meals a day, and if you can get a couple of nutritious snacks in, that's pretty good as well. So what do you think so far? Did you do that already?
Who, me? Are you kidding? I wish I did. No, sometimes I'm a hit or miss type person. Sometimes I do it, then sometimes I don't. In other words, I'll go on a run where I'm real disciplined and stuff, and then all of a sudden Easter will come around and there'll be those egg cartons with marshmallow eggs in them, and and a Dr. Pepper, so marshmallow eggs and Dr. Pepper for breakfast. And then, then I'll eat something good for lunch. But yeah, so I'm not going to say I'm 110% all the time.
No, and we don't even expect that of anybody. And there was a really good book out there a couple of years ago, something about 80%, meaning, do your eating program 80% correctly 80% of the time and you'll be fine. And that makes sense to me because, if you try to go too drastic, then you're going to fall off the wagon. And like a friend of mine once said, when you fall off the wagon, it's like when you get out of your car when you have a flat tire and you look at your other 3 tires and you slash them and you just say, forget it, I'm just going to go off my diet and eat crazily. For some reason, humans seem to do that. They think, well, I'm not going to do this program anymore because I missed one day. But, missing a meal or eating incorrectly for a short period like you do is okay. And then you just eat right the rest of the time. It's not really brain surgery, but, it's like humans, we tend to be kind of type A about everything. Well, I'm going to go on a diet, and then sure enough, something derails it, and then we go, quote, off the diet, when we should be eating healthfully all the time. That's, easy to say, agreed. But, and nobody's perfect, and you shouldn't be, and that's kind of the point of what we're discussing is just do it correctly 80% of the time, and you'll be fine.
Well, the gym that I train at is called The Gym. And they have quite a few trainers there that have trained people in bodybuilding competition. And I've watched these clients of theirs within a period of about 6 weeks, or to 4 to 6 weeks, reduce down to just shredded, ripped, lean muscle. But then after the competition's over, they balloon back up larger than what they were before the competition, it seems like a puffiness. So does the body have an overreaction somehow, some way, when it goes from that radical lean diet or that, I guess that protein, I don't know what the diet actually is, but when they get ripped up and then they go back to eating regular, does the diet the body start storing a lot like it's been starved, or how does that work?
Well, great question. And let's bring it down to the average human who goes on the typical yo-yo diet, where they'll get lean for them for a while, and then they say, I can't handle this anymore, and then they start eating carbs again or whatever, and then they balloon back up. With not a bodybuilder, but just your typical listener who does well for a short time and then gains the weight back and then loses it again. That used to be that the researchers were saying, oh, that will mess with your metabolism and you can never fix it. And once you start yo-yoing like that, then you'll never be able to, quote, get your body back. But that's been found to be untrue, especially when you introduce weight training into the program. Because there's some fallacies about weight training making you more metabolically active. It does, but not too much more. But it can be enough. Weight training, full body weight training can be enough to keep that metabolism from slowing down as it did when the person was yo-yoing. So in answer to your question, as long as that person, whether it's a bodybuilder or just the average guy who's yo-yoing, as long as they do some form of resistance training to keep their muscle, then that can kind of tip the curve in their favor so that then they can get their metabolism back. But people who try to just do aerobics, like I'm going to go run, and then they come back and they do this yo-yo thing, boy, it's very difficult for them to get back and stay lean, because, again, they've lost a lot of muscle, and doing too much aerobics can be catabolic, meaning losing even more muscle. So a lot of people overtrain and undereat, and then, like we said earlier, then they're using their muscle for energy. So, yeah, it's a tightrope, and the closer you get to your ideal weight, where you have a very low % body fat, then the tougher it is to maintain that low level of body fat. And that's where the bodybuilders, you got to congratulate not the professionals that are taking the drugs, but the natural bodybuilders who are doing things, eating correctly and just without any of the drugs and all. Congratulate them for being able to do it naturally and not take diuretics and steroids and all that.
Well, that sounds awesome. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate the tip you gave me today. It made me feel more confident and less guilty, because I probably suffered from a couple of the things that you said. But I try to stay at it. When I feel like I'm going too far, then I say, okay, I got to get back on track. So yeah. I imagine there's a lot of people like me out there that do the same thing. Well, anyway, I sure appreciate your comment today, Tom. This is Jeff Overturf and Tom Seaborn from WTFradio.me, and we'll be right back.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.